Hello everyone, it's Kitty. There is nothing I love more than talking about Easter eggs in Star Stable Online. Researching and learning about elements that are buried so deep in Star Stable's history that a majority of the community were not aware of or have forgotten. And today is the day I decided that it was time I share these Easter eggs with you guys. There are many to cover. Therefore, there are some I may intentionally save for another video. And please, feel free to comment some forgotten memories of Star Stable's past that you remember. I must give a disclaimer as well. Some of these Easter eggs are courtesy of Star Stable's very own Reddit page. The ones that I never personally got to experience for myself, but have researched and found data on. The rest of them are drawn from my own memory. So, now that all of that is out of the way, I present to you forgotten fragments of Star Stable's past. It's a wonderfully warm afternoon, and you open your personal computer to log on Star Stable. You first open your browser and then type in www.starstable.com. You go through the normal procedure of signing into your account. Then you are presented with the notorious stable doors. Whether this memory is familiar or unfamiliar to you, I can explain exactly what this meant. In the height of Adobe Flash games on the internet, Star Stable wanted to allow new and returning players to have an enjoyable experience playing in the beloved world of Jorvik. This meant establishing a game launcher inside of their website, letting players start Star Stable from the web. Of course, you still had to install the actual game into your computer. You could not play the full game from the browser exclusively. But I cannot stress how adorable this feature was. It was evidence of just how much the team wanted their community to immerse themselves in this digital equestrian utopia. The game would also update and install from the website. So if you were installing the game for the first time, you would sit with your computer screen reading various guides and introductions to the game while listening to Star Stable's own original OST. Which was basically like the equivalent of elevator music, but for Star Stable. When all was completed and it was time to launch the game, you would click on the stable doors and they would open to a suspenseful and reverbed track, preparing you for the adventure ahead. On March 4th, 2015, it was announced that Google Chrome would not be supporting this extension anymore. Players who were familiar with the web browser and used it daily could no longer launch the game from the website. But it didn't mean they could no longer play Star Stable. The team always offered a personal desktop application that was able to launch the game. Over the course of the next 6 months, it was stressed in several news articles how badly launching Star Stable through a browser was damaging players' game experience. At one point during this time, Star Stable offered a special email address to report bugs through for 1 week only. They were heavily implying towards the end that they would be making the desktop application the exclusive source to launch Star Stable through. And on September 21st, 2015, Star Stable officially pulled the plug on the website launcher. I will forever miss the website launcher, just remembering how excited it made me to play Star Stable. But I am glad that this decision helped a lot of players be able to play the game without any issues, as well as pivoted a lot of potential cyber attacks. Up until now, The launcher has been pretty reliable. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for functionality. One major issue I have with the launcher is that while I reminisce about how happy and immersed the website launcher made me feel when I played Star Stable, I can't help but compare that experience to how I feel about the desktop launcher now. The minute I open it, I am overwhelmed with Star Coin and Star Rider offers. Huge blown up pop-ups telling me to buy this new discounted Star Coin package. It hurts my soul a little bit, because it speaks on a lot of levels. It is an accurate representation of the direction the game has gone, compared to where they were 12 years ago. Okay, I have mentioned how small the Star Stable community used to be in the past, especially when the game was only available in their domestic location of Sweden. The Star Stable team was constantly in close connection with their community at the time, and always reaching out on social media to give shoutouts and ask for what the community believes would improve the game. Looking back, I could tell it took an astonishing amount of effort to be a developer and an active member of the community at the same time. The team and community were so close-knit that they believed it would be a smart idea to create their own weekly magazine, showcasing the creativity and talent of the community, as well as delivering information on what's new to the game. Thus, the Jorvik Gazette was born, an incredible combination of astonishing graphic design you would find in a real magazine, and informative tips, tricks, and news for Star Stable Online. The Jorvik Gazette was available on Star Stable's website for the community to read. It is a bit difficult to uncover these articles, as they were all written exclusively in Swedish, and the program only lasted for 5 issues. But speaking on what has been resurfaced, this magazine was really charming. You will find some old pictures of Star Stable legends in there, as well as interviews with game masters, the height of fashion at the time, clues for quests, and much, much more. It's amazing the amount of effort that was put into elements even outside of the game, especially considering how small the Star Stable team was. The Jorvik Gazette would cease operation in 2012, ending its 1-year lifespan. I hope one day more information about this magazine will be brought to light, and maybe even be reintroduced? Could you go an entire 24 hours without playing Star Stable? I know I couldn't at the time. In December of 2014, the worldwide Star Stable community were going about their week, looking forward to the Wednesday update and celebrating the most joyful time of year. We all logged off for the day on December 2nd, only to find out that tomorrow, the servers would be down for a whole day. This caused a massive panic from everyone. It was an overall dreadful day for the community. Our worries were put to rest on December 4th, when Star Stable announced the game was playable once again, as well as explained the cause for such an unusual turn of events. Batteries providing power for the game servers unexpectedly exploded the previous day, hence giving this disaster the title of Battery Explosion. I'm grateful that Star Stable had such a dedicated technical team to take this problem head-on and restore the game back to normal, so that we can anticipate the long-awaited Fjord Horse and Snowfall on Jorvik for the 3rd year in a row in the following weeks. Players were rewarded with a temporary code for a cute in-game graphic t-shirt displaying a battery on fire. On social media, it was later revealed that 3 players showed up to Star Stable's office in Sweden that day and rewarded the whole team with coffee. Becoming a Star Rider for the first time in the game was pretty special, for a majority of reasons. Some of us were excited to finally see the Silverglade Castle up close, others were excited to finally build the Harvest County's bridge, but we can all agree that being able to jump finally was the biggest bonus. although you would not immediately be able to jump with your horse the minute you became a star rider. In order to learn, you would have to complete the quest where you take back the stolen documents from Sabine and wait overnight for Thomas Morland to enlist you in a trip to Silverglade Village. Once you have delivered the documents for safekeeping to the councilman of Silverglade, Justin would arrive in Steve's farm to teach you how to jump. On June 27th, 2018, it was announced in a news article alongside the debut of the Generation 3 Jorvik pony that jumping is now accessible for non-star riders as well. Justin would still appear in Steve's farm, offering to give you a jumping lesson for a few years until the quest was inevitably removed. I personally have mixed feelings about allowing non-star riders to jump in the very beginning of the game. I am always in 100% support of allowing players who cannot afford certain things in Star Stable a chance to experience some of the magic the game has to offer. It is just the way the team executes these changes. When learning how to jump now, it is a quick and easy task you are given by Jenna right after you are asked to walk the cavaletti. It's almost as if Jenna is saying, "Oh yeah, you need to learn how to jump too, 5 minutes into your first day here at horse camp. Go do your best to jump over that obstacle I've conveniently set up for you." It destroys immersion. First of all, as someone who's taken riding lessons, it took me a very long time to jump for the first time. Like, years. Second of all, jumping was something you had to earn. You saw everyone else around you do it. You would frantically look at your quest log and online blogs to know when you would finally get the quest from Justin. I mean, we paid for this! And third of all, in the quest, Justin had us build our own obstacle out of scrapped piles of wood and poles laying around Steve's farm. Jenna somehow has the time to take all of the cavaletti obstacles away and construct a tall jump for us to complete in less than 40 seconds. It is frustrating seeing how little thought and time is taken into these unnecessary changes nowadays. But please, let me know your thoughts and opinions on the jumping debacle in the comments. It has been a pretty hot topic now for the past 5 years. On Wednesdays, we get game updates. But did you know that we also wear pink? Speaking of a diva in Star Stable that wears pink, she has been majorly humbled over the years. Loretta is the leader and founder of the riding club from Moreland, the Bobcats. She is known for being Regina George if she grew up on an island where horses were your #1 source of transport. And she certainly played the mean girl part in the earlier days. Her dialogue when you first met her is extremely catty, going as far as to insult your name and your horse's name. This was a charming touch of drama in Star Stable Online that worked wonders for players' investment in the introduction of the game. Although, when you are producing children's media, there is a very thin line you can walk when displaying bullying. And the line has gotten even thinner over the years now that the subject is taken more seriously. Star Stable's response to that was to change Loretta's dialogue in 2019 and make her seem more approachable. This change only lasted a year, but during that brief time frame, speaking with her was like whiplash. She would throw compliments out about your horse and tell us to take it easy. It's okay if we mess up. That is very kind of her. But there are so many other characters in Moreland that make more sense saying that. During this change, it seemed like Star Stable took Loretta's personality away. She is not meant to be a nice and patient person. She is meant to be portrayed as a traditional mean girl. You need villains to make the story interesting, and that is not a bad thing. That is not all there is to Loretta's character. Later on, we end up saving her life from a landslide and she invites us into the Bobcats. I do not believe the storytelling had to be changed. I did not feel threatened as a child by Loretta, and the fact that it all comes full circle after we race her made me feel so connected to the world and these characters. Her dialogue has been replaced as of 2020 with a brand new script, and her snarky tone has made a return, although they have dialed her intensity back a lot. I'm not ready to stop talking about my love for the Bobcats, because this next forgotten element of Old Star Stable was the extended Wild Bobcat track. After Loretta challenges you to a race down Milmer's Highland, you are requested by Tan to complete their most daunting race, the Wild Bobcat track. Once you have completed the race, you will be rewarded with acceptance into the Bobcat Girls and an official jacket. This race would begin near the Bobcat Girls' hangout, and it will guide you up and down the rocky mountains of Milmer's Highland, where you will be greeted with obstacles like trees and stone fences. In total, the race would last around 2 to 3 minutes if you are a beginner. That was until February 15th of 2017, when Star Stable shortened the duration of the race by removing checkpoints, cutting the total racing time by about 30 seconds to a minute. According to Jorvipedia, this was due to the belief that it was too difficult for newer players. What made this race so appealing to me is that as you were running the track, you passed so many great places along the way. The circus, as well as the bridge to the Harvest Counties. If you are a new player, it helps you get used to the environment of Star Stable and what to expect in the future. I am a bit frustrated with some of Star Stable's decisions to make unnecessary changes, especially for the sake of newer players who don't even seem to complain about these sort of things. This one is for all you Idris fans out there. Probably one of the most well-loved Star Stable NPCs out there. But did you know that he actually had a major glow-up? On May 8th of 2013, Idris made his way onto Jorvik in hopes of bringing a little joy to the citizens through his dreams of running a circus. This quest line would be available for players level 13 and up to participate in. And it would involve all sorts of weird antics that make you question what exactly you are doing. It would all begin with May, now known as Maya the Stable Girl, informing you of rumors of a circus in Milmer's Highland. You would then meet Idris, who was just as weird back then as he is now. Throughout the quest, you would need help from a few residents of Jorvik, such as James in Fort Pinta and Donald the Tailor in Silverglade Village. You would also come to learn that Idris has connections with some shady characters, such as Pi the Witch, leading you to question where Idris's loyalties lie. Instead of the pink and purple color we know now, symbolizing Pandoria, the old circus was a traditional yellow and red. Inside of the tent was no different than it is now, but who the people were in the stands, constantly watching you, remained unknown. Until 2018, when the Idris we know now was introduced to the game, along with Z, the equine companion to the wizard. Star Stable has had some major changes to their user interface over the years, including just recently when they removed the iconic horseshoe map. But I want to know if there are any players out there watching this video who remember when group names used to look like this. It is so formal. It makes me feel like royalty. Miss Kitty S. I think that this made the names easier to read, but I don't mind either version. The only group change I care about is when they add the ability to have more people in one group. While we're on the topic of interface, let's talk about the evolution of global chat. In the earlier stages of the game, global chat did not exist. but instead had its place taken by Stable Chat, an exclusive chat that could only be used in areas surrounding a stable, which ironically is much like what Global Chat is now. On January 30th, 2013, Stable Chat was removed and replaced by what we know now as Global Chat, a feature that can be used to talk to everyone online wherever you are in the game. It was said by Star Stable that Global Chat is exclusive to Star Riders only to discourage players from creating new accounts to spam or troll in a chat room where everyone online is notified and affected. On February 5th, 2014, Global Chat was made exclusive to populated areas of the map like stables and villages once more to avoid server overwhelm. This announcement was made in a news article alongside the debut of a vacation for horses. Speaking of, Horse Island was a feature announced on February 5th, 2014 to seize the need to sell horses in your stable once you hit the limit. Your home stable was only capable of holding 10 horses at a time, and you had two choices if you wanted to buy a new horse. Sell one of your existing horses, or send them off to Horse Island temporarily. In order to send your horses on vacation, you would have to click your stable settings, select the horse you wanted to send away, and then decide whether you want them to go on a budget holiday or a luxury holiday. Luxury holidays were marketed at 129 star coins exclusively. Your horse would permanently stay in a happy mood for the entire duration of their stay. Budget holidays were sold at 495 Jorvik shillings or 9 star coins. Your horse would stay at an indifferent mood for the duration of their stay. Budget holidays were sold at 495 Jorvik shillings or 9 star coins. Your horse would stay at an indifferent mood for the duration of their stay. The luxury holiday would provide 3 different cinematics of your horse on the island that were such a cute detail. The same goes for the budget holiday. There would be 3 different cinematics of your horse in a paddock close to the island. You could retrieve your horse from the island at any time as long as you had a spot open for them in your stable. This also created a great life hack for when you haven't fed your horses in a while. Take them to the island for a minute and then bring them back with a happier mood. On November 30th, 2016, the long-awaited home stable update was rolled out, and with it came your very own pasture where you can easily drag and drop horses in and out of, free of charge. If you hire stable care help, your horses in the pasture will also be taken care of. Therefore, making Horse Island sort of obsolete, which was cause for its removal from the game the same day. I like the home stable update, and I like Horse Island. Truth is, I like the challenge of having to pay a lot of money in order to buy my next horse. It makes it seem worth it, but of course, not everyone feels the same way. We've all spent a Friday or Saturday night in Fort Pinta dancing with our friends for hours on end more than once in our Star Stable careers, right? I'm sure you all are aware of collabs made at the Fort Pinta Disco like JoJo Siwa and Dolly Style, but I want to show you some collabs that were made in the earlier days of Star Stable. On April 25th, 2013, it was announced on social media by Star Stable that the following Friday night there would be a special in-game radio show live in Fort Pinta Disco. Star Stable enlisted a radio host to appear at the disco in-game for fun and activities. The host's name would be DJ Sparkly. It was a limited time event, but it seemed like it was a blast. Fast forward to October 1st, 2014, in the first week of celebrations of Star Stable's 3rd birthday, Star Stable announced their collaboration with a band in real life named J.A. This would mean the regular rotation of songs at Fort Pinta Disco would be replaced with 2 of the band's hit singles, Caroline and These Days. Star Stable even produced a side quest in relation to JA, where the security guard would ask you to hang up posters of the band in Fort Pinta, and you would be rewarded with an exclusive in-game t-shirt of them. The Star Stable community has been known to be extremely creative when it comes to creating their own activities, to enjoy the game to its fullest. Before dressage and jumping shows were advertised regularly, a common activity players would participate in were stampedes. Hosts would advertise their stampede in global chat, most commonly at Steve's farm, and interested players would join in. Other players would also be picked up along the route to join in on the fun. Some stampedes were hosted for a cause, and some were just there to get a big group of people you have never met before and spend an afternoon hanging out, exploring Jorvik. This is not to say that stampedes are still not hosted today, but they were much more common in the earlier days because it was fascinating to people to have a big group of players ride around together. When signing up for Star Stable Online, we are all made to play the role of a summer camp attendee turned soul rider. But I'm sure a lot of us wanted to also play as our horses as well. Before November of 2017, when the Become a Wild Horse feature was implemented into the game, players had to be a little more technically advanced in order to achieve becoming a wild horse. This meant going into your computer files and accessing Star Stable's game data to temporarily remove all of the files titled pants. After completing this process, you would log on to a completely humanless world with your very own wild horse. This popular glitch remained usable in the game for many years. I'm sure the team made a few attempts at patching the wild horse glitch, but the players always found a way around it. That was until Star Stable encrypted all of their game files and provided us with a feature to be able to become a wild horse without all the extra labor. Have you ever looked at the map and wondered, when are they going to release this new area? This type of curiosity was rampant, especially when areas were closed off by the notorious iron gates and that little red symbol. That was until players somehow found some outrageous glitch in Jorvik City Mall that allowed you to disguise yourself as being inside the mall so that your game would believe that you were not in a restricted area. The only downside was this glitch was performed on foot, so you would have to run across the map to the place you wanted to go. Allow me to explain this glitch step by step. First, you go to Jorvik City Mall. Back when this glitch was popular, you still had to wait to ride the bus. Second, you find a door underneath the escalator and open your settings, vigorously sliding your graphics quality up and down so that your game would lag. This step took a few tries, but once you were past the door, you would fall into this dark abyss until your horse's health would deplete, and you would be sent home. Once you were back at your home stable, you could not mount your horse, and your game would appear all dark, and it was nearly impossible to get around. In order to fix this, you would have to run to the fashion barn in Silverglade Village, go inside, and then exit the store. Your game's graphics would be restored to normal. You were still unable to mount your horse, so whatever closed area you would like to explore, you would have to venture on foot. Man, now I'm starting to realize why Star Stable took away these features, like the fashion barn and your horse's health being affected by dangerous falls. Once you approach the gate of the restricted area you would like to explore, you must repeat step number 2 and attempt to lag your way through. And then, ta-da! You can now discover what was not yet accessible to the public, and find some secrets along the way. I doubt this glitch is still working now, and it is almost unnecessary seeing as most of the unreleased areas are no longer restricted. Training horses can be an exceptionally daunting and overwhelming task at times, especially back in the year of 2013 when your favorite races didn't give as much XP as they do now. Though, rumor has it, back then, everyone would log on around midnight, and meet up at Marley's farm to race. Due to an exploit found in-game, for a small window of time, you could repeat races an unlimited amount of times and farm XP for your horses. If I am not mistaken, Marley's jumping course was the race at the time that gave the most horse XP. So naturally, players flocked to that race to use this bug. I had not been playing yet to experience this in-game, so please correct me if I am wrong. I really do enjoy how harmless bugs like these brought the community together. Let's imagine for a second that you're riding a horse through a crowded city. Normally you would try to ride at a slower pace to avoid causing accidents, yes? And you surely wouldn't jump a horse in a busy city. That just wouldn't make any sense. Star Stable followed through with this logic in the earlier days of the game, making it so we were not allowed to jump, no matter what, in areas such as Silverglade Village and Jarlaheim. Which makes total sense and feeds realism. If you attempted to jump in these areas, you would receive a pop-up message that says, "Jumping is not allowed here." It remains unknown to me when this feature was removed from the game. It was proven to be a challenging and maybe an unnecessary addition to some, but to me, it only heightened my immersion in the game. I really miss realistic and challenging features like these in the game. Do you remember how exciting it was to stay up late playing Star Stable as a kid? When I was younger, like many other children, I had a curfew, so I technically was not allowed to play Star Stable until midnight. That's not to say I didn't spend some nights as a kid playing Star Stable, but it was such a rare occurrence. When I knew I had officially made it to midnight, the game would display a message telling me, "Dusk is coming. The night is closing in." What this meant was that the server's day and night cycle had reset. Essentially, that it was a brand new day in Jorvik. This message still exists, although it has been rephrased into "Twilight falls. The night is closing in." I cannot express how much fun it was staying up late with all of my friends on Star Stable and being greeted with that message. In the earlier days, the night sky on Star Stable Online was so pretty. The sky was like a blanket of stars. It genuinely felt like night. It is no secret that Star Stable has had some major graphic upgrades throughout their 12-year run. Most notably in 2015 when they updated areas such as Moorland and Fort Pinta, as well as give common items such as stone fences and wooden fences a texture update. But did you know that Star Stable made a remarkable graphic update 1 year after the game's release? The first version of Stables is buried pretty deep in Star Stable history. As I mentioned earlier, they did not last very long. Every time I see the stables in its texture style, it is so startling. They look the best they could have been for what resources the team had at the time. But I am grateful for the change, because the updated texture makes stables look brighter and more comfy. Have you been playing long enough to remember this crazy April Fool's prank? Starting in 2013, every year Star Stable would secretly implement a very strange bunny into the game on April 1st. In the first year, this bunny would be located in Nilmer's Highland, where the notorious circus had been built, which is quite fitting because this bunny's objective was anything but normal. If you were to interact with the bunny, it would turn your horse into a crazy and unnatural horse color. Every year came with the release of a new color for your horse. In the first year, the colors that were available included a gradient blue, green with pink stars, and yellow with purple polka dots. 2014 introduced 3 of the best color variations: pink with white hearts, a dark blue galaxy, and a light blue sky with rainbows. 2015 came with a suspicious green leaf variation and blue bubbles. 2016 introduced the purple galaxy variation, and 2017 released some sort of purple Pandorian rock coat, which is fitting seeing as we got to see Pandoria in Star Stable for the first time that year. 2018 was the farewell tour for the Easter Bunny, as after this year, the function did not make a return. Do you ever wonder how Star Stable became the #1 horse game in the world? Well, it didn't happen overnight. I'm sure you all are aware of the Recruit a Friend function. It has come and gone from the game over the past several years, but Star Stable once had a different approach. All lifetime Star Riders would receive redeem codes via email for a free Star Rider trial intended to be given to their friends. This was such a great idea for spreading the word about Star Stable, and I wish they would do something similar again in the future. We've mentioned a ton of fun Star Stable collaborations previously, but I would love to end this video off with one of Star Stable's best collaborations that the entire community came to appreciate. On July 3rd, 2013, Reed Kessler paid a visit to the island of Jorvik, and along with her arrival came a new mini-quest introducing the Olympic Rider. The quest would begin with May, now known as Maya, the stable girl in Moreland, delivering the news that the famous Olympic show jumper Reed Kessler is in Jorvik training at the riding hall. May pleads to you that she is too busy with chores, that she cannot go and visit Reed, but asks you if you will go visit the riding hall and get an autograph. When you arrive at the riding hall, Reed would be standing by the race keeper, and once you speak with her, she would invite you to show her your jumping skills. Once you have completed the track, Reed would reward you with her iconic 2012 Olympic red jacket, and of course would sign an autograph for dear May. Reed Kessler and the quest related to her would remain in the game for 6 years, and would be offered to players who achieved level 7 and up. For most newer players, this would be the first glimpse of the riding hall. Reed Kessler made her departure from Jorvik on September 11th, 2019, alongside Toby Larson, another iconic face in the equestrian world. I want to thank both of these people for agreeing to be featured in Star Stable and giving us some great quests and rewards with their visit. I miss them in the game so much. And thus concludes part 1 of this series. Thank you all so much for sticking around until the end. And please feel free to comment some of your favorite Easter eggs of Star Stable history down below. I get some of my best ideas from you guys. I post old Star Stable documentaries and nostalgia every week, so if you rock with that, consider subscribing. I'm super close to 2,000 subscribers, and I'd so appreciate if you are a part of that journey. I also post frequently on my Instagram. My handle is kittispiderweb. It is linked down below. Until next time, this has been Kitti Spiderweb, signing out.